Story 1. 2000 Acura Integra Type R. Not the most expensive, but at that age I could not have owned a better car. The joy and good times it brought me have not been matched. I deeply regret selling it. Story 2. I bought a 1985 Toyota Corolla when it was already 20 years old. Indestructible and easy to fix. Because it was cheap, I didn't care about dogs, kids, or bikes in it. It was a great lifestyle car. I kept it for years and saved a fortune. It was a chance buy. I walked past a car yard, saw it, and happened to have the exact cash in my wallet. New or expensive cars are unwise. Save your money. Story 3. 2008 Lexus IS 350. It is always going to be beautiful and just aggressive enough. It drives amazingly, is bulletproof, and is very fast. I can afford the upkeep. I should sell it because I have had it long enough, but I cannot accept a trade-in value of $4,500. That is so much fun for under $5,000. It still looks like a $35,000 car. Lexus nailed it with this car and the RX 350, which might be one of the greatest vehicles of all time. Story 4. 1992 Mazda Miata. Miata is always the answer. Story 5. My current 2014 Mazda 3. I am very grateful for how it has held up over the years. I only put 8,000 miles on it a year, which probably has something to do with it. After a lifetime of unreliable cars before this one, I love it very much. Story 6. 2003 Honda S2000. White with tan and black interior. I owned it for about 10 years and 100,000 miles. Whether I was autocrossing or just driving around town, it was always fun to sit behind the wheel. For a performance car, I couldn't ask for anything more reliable. I sold it in 2017 to make a good down payment on a minivan after my first child was born. I will always miss owning that car. Story 7. Still driving my first car, a 1999 Saturn SL2. I am going to hit 120,000 miles in a few weeks, I think. Story 8. Toyota Tacoma. After over 130,000 miles, only routine maintenance was required. My worst cars are from General Motors. Never again. General Motors is dead to me. Story 9. My 2008 Honda Fit is still going strong with no issues other than having to change one sensor late last year. Story 10. A 1973 Chevrolet Nova. 6-cylinder, 3-speed on the column. No-frills car that was easy to work on. Looked great, ran great, and never failed me. Story 11. Rusty old Chevrolet Suburban with a bad fuse box and a seriously underpowered engine. Every time we turned the key, it was a gamble what would not be working. Gauges, lights, heating, and air conditioning, the all-important stereo system. Fortunately, you could just pull and put in fuses until the important things worked, namely the stereo. Climbing hills almost had everyone rocking in their seats in unison to make it, and once we got it up to 55 miles per hour, we agreed never to do that again. The vehicle was insanely fun for a group of hippies camping up and down the coast in the 2010s. Story 12. A manual 4-speed 1994 Toyota Tercel with over 200,000 miles that I drove hard as a 16 to 17-year-old, and it never once complained. Story 13. 2010 Lexus RX 350. The car was a beast. I drove it to 175,000 miles before the transmission failed. We called it the Silver Bullet. I missed that car. Story 14. 1981 Toyota Cressida, the peak of Japanese luxury at the time. Bought it for $500 with 200,000 miles and put another 200,000 miles on it, only having to rebuild the struts. Story 15. I have certainly owned more expensive cars, but my manual second-generation CR-V is just everything a car should be. Story 16. My old black 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee was a feat of engineering. It was close to 275,000 miles when I finally sold it, and even then it had some life left. It was the easiest vehicle I ever owned to work on, very accessible and well-designed. It gave me many wonderful memories. Story 17. Favorite. 1978 Mercedes-Benz 450 SE in silver blue over white leather. Most versatile. Land Rover Discovery 4. This would be my favorite if the ownership experience had been as good as the driving and usage experience. Best, tie between Tesla Model 3 and Kia EV3. Story 18, 2002 Subaru Outback Sedan. Cuts through snow like it is nothing. Heated windshield wiper blades as well. It was also fairly fuel efficient. Story 19, 1996 Toyota 4Runner. Manual transmission. I was the original owner, and when I sold it, it had over 265,000 miles and still ran like a top. A woman bought my 4Runner for her 16-year-old daughter as her first vehicle to keep her safe. Story 20, 1976 American Motors Corporation Pacer. It was actually awful by any objective measure, but amazing. After that, I had a 1971 Oldsmobile 442 as a teenager. I wrecked it. I am still very sad about that. Story 21. Believe it or not, my 2000 Dodge Neon was the best car I had. Things ran perfectly until I retired it in 2015 at 205,000 miles. Story 22. 1988 Honda Accord LX 5-speed. It had 250,000 miles on it when we sold it and was still going strong. I loved that car. Story 23. 2011 Volvo C30 R Design. Only let it go because the roads in my city are terrible and the suspension was very tight, but it was a fun little rocket. Story 24. I've had a dozen cars and each one was best suited to the lifestyle I had at the time. The most trouble-free car I owned was a 1999 Amigo Sport manual 4-speed, with the hardtop and removable double sunroofs. It did every odd job I needed with no issues. It didn't have a lot of power and was ugly gray on the inside throughout. The most fun cars were the small ones. 1990 Geo-Tracker 4-wheel drive manual 4-speed. I had to buy a radio for it. Wires kept coming loose. It had a bikini soft top, oversized all-weather tires, had to lock the hubs for 4-wheel drive, a plastic rear window, and no lock on the rear hatch meant no security. The seats were painful if you drove over an hour, but it was just fun. 1999 Mazda MX, 5 Miata Anniversary Edition manual 6-speed leather seats, and I modified it with all sorts of chrome attachments, style bar, racing stripes, carbon fiber hood. I just loved that car, but it would overheat from May to September in Phoenix. 2010 Mini Cooper S manual 6-speed, fast and furious. Loved the crazy dashboard and smooth shifter. I put on black and white checkerboard seat covers. It was black and yellow. I called it my checker cab. Story 25. Tie between 3. 92 Volkswagen Golf GTI. Excellent go-kart. Sold at 185,000 kilometers. Never needed anything beyond basic maintenance. 95 Mazda Miata. Extremely fun. Driving with the top down in the summer is the best. 2001 Subaru Forester XT. Exceptionally fast for a sport utility vehicle. Story 26. Current car. 2012 Honda CR-V. Sunroof. Leather interior. I bought it because I anticipated taking road trips with it. At the time, I had a small 5-door Nissan. I paid it off and will drive it into the sunset. Story 27. 2009 Chevrolet Malibu. It is the car I have owned for the longest period of time without any issues. I usually have terrible luck with cars. Story 28. Current car. Porsche Macan. Maneuverable, distinctive Porsche handling, affordable, seats that give you a hug, and great visibility. Story 29. Never had a car. Always had a motorcycle as the only means of transportation. Best bike is the Honda NC 700X. Current model. It is as reliable as they come. Story 30. 2002 Toyota Corolla. Base model. I am pretty sure when it was finally retired, it was still running with over 300,000 miles. Story 31. My 2019 3.6-liter Subaru Outback. The straight-six engine provides good acceleration, and it is an overall reliable vehicle. Story 32. Fun. 1997 Monte Carlo Blue Acura NSX. Utility. 2018 Audi Q7 Prestige. Youth 1965 MGB, miss it sometimes, but would not want to revisit it as a daily driver. Story 33. Honestly, probably my 1995 Pontiac Grand Prix Special Edition Coupe. Super comfortable, rode great, got good mileage, and never really had an issue with it. Rust belt salt finally killed the frame, and I turned it into a demolition derby car. That car was so good to me, it even won me the derby. I miss it. I would really like to find another one and do an LS4 engine swap. Story 34. I had a Plymouth Laser as a late teenager that was the most fun car I have had to drive. Maybe I am seeing it through rose-tinted glasses, but I remember liking driving it more than the Chevrolet Camaro I bought later. I liked the Honda Fit enough to buy two of them over my lifetime. It is the best overall car I have had. Economical at the time without being a hybrid, with tons of room for stuff for people, great windows, and excellent visibility. Story 35. In 2008, I leased a brand new BMW 1 Series convertible. I had just finished medical school and was beginning a career as a military physician. It was my first nice car, having driven a Saturn since high school. Needless to say, it was a significant upgrade. I was very depressed at that point in my life, and while material things cannot fix problems indefinitely, it really lifted my spirits during a transition in my life. Every car I have owned since then has been incrementally nicer. If you put me back in that car now, it would be a massive downgrade. At that time in my life, it was a small perk I needed after a lot of sacrifice, and it made a difference. No material thing has ever come close to that purchase. I will also say that the lease built me an impressive credit score, and that helped me in life moving forward. Story 36. My Dodge Neon Street Racing Technology 4. I love that car and have the best memories with it. Years of fun with all my friends who also drove street racing Technology 4s, Evolution models, and World Rally experimental models. I miss those days. Story 37. Driving it now. My wife got a Tesla Model 3 in 2019. Great car with zero issues in the time we have had it. Elon Musk is difficult, but we love our car. Story 38. Ford Falcon. It is a bit of a meme car here in Australia, but ugly and boringly slow. But the one I bought had a liquefied petroleum gas conversion. As a result, it had decent towing power, was very cheap to run, and the car was inexpensive to maintain. I put 300,000 kilometers on the clock in that car. It had 160,000 when I bought it, so a total of 460,000 kilometers. It was still running fine when I got rid of it, which I only did because, as mechanically reliable as it was, I was given a much newer car through work, so there was no point in keeping two. The car was absolutely effortless to drive and very comfortable too. The only issue was that if the power steering ever leaked, it would take out the alternator. This only happened to me twice. Keep in mind, I had the car for 300,000 kilometers. But it always sucked when it happened because, for the sake of a cheap hose, I would write off a $300 alternator. Story 39. I realize it will not be popular because this is Reddit, but of the 12 vehicles I have purchased and driven since 1996, my Tesla Model S has been objectively the best. I have not had a single issue with it. Zero maintenance required. I have used it for multiple cross-country trips, and having it drive me for 100% of the time has been game-changing. It also looks great, is packed with features, and its speed is in a different category entirely from anything else I have ever driven. Story 40. Every car I've owned is better than the previous one. So it's a 2024 Kia EV6 with all-wheel drive. I know, save the planet with an electric car and all that. Want to know why I actually got it? The 1986 Ferrari Testarossa. That's my dream car. In the arcade game I played in my teens outrun by Sega, it was red. In the TV show Miami Vice, Don Johnson's character had his Daytona Spider blown up in a drug deal gone bad. So he was issued a white Testarossa. Gorgeous car, 340 horsepower, able to go 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.3 seconds. What's that got to do with a non-GT crossover sport utility vehicle like my Kia? Well, the electric motors deliver instant torque, and it can do 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.6 seconds. My nondescript car beats the Italian supercar of my teenage dreams off the blocks, and it's as quiet as a squirrel's fart when it does it. It's a South Korean Ninja that costs around 4 cents a mile to fuel at home, so if I were to compare that to the price of premium unleaded gasoline with anti-knock index 93 octane, which I would need for a car to get up to 60 miles per hour that quick, I get over 100 miles per gallon in a car that can cream a Ferrari in a quarter-mile sprint. I got it for $10,000 off the manufacturer's suggested retail price because the dealership was getting the refreshed 2025 models in. I'm in my late 50s and I doubt I'll get much better than that. Story 41. Not long after high school, I bought a near-new 1997 Eagle Talon ESI. It was a hot car at the time and really good-looking. It got stolen months after I bought it and was written off. I lost a lot of money on it. A friend had a 1985 Volkswagen Golf with a clutch problem that was gifted to him, and I bought it for $500. The clutch problem was an easy and cheap fix, and over the few years I drove it, it only needed a fuel pump. I am not sure I ever even changed the oil. I took it across the country a couple of times. It was shockingly fun to drive. Torquey, well-balanced, and attracted no attention. Someone drove into it, and it did not survive, but insurance paid me over $3,000 for it. It was seriously the best overall car ownership experience I ever had. I suffered through some much newer and higher specification Volkswagens in the following years due to the amazing experience I had with that old 1985 Golf. Story 42. 2003 Volkswagen Golf turbocharged direct injection. One of the last models produced before the emissions cheating scandal. That reliable vehicle never got stuck in winter, regardless of snowfall, and consistently achieved fuel consumption well below 4 liters per 100 kilometers during long road trips. Story 43. 1986 BMW E28 M535i. I had it for 2 weeks. I bought it from my brother's boss and promptly sold it because of my lack of self-control and the horrific fuel consumption when driving it fast. Each time I think about it, I have to justify selling it again to myself because I always regret it. By modern standards, it was not even that fast. But it was a lovely vehicle for its time. I bought it for about £8,000 and sold it for a little more. Story 44. 1977 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Silver with red Landau top. 2 layers of limo black window tint. BF Goodrich raised white letter 50s mounted on chrome 5-spoke mags. New 350 cubic inch engine with a Rochester 750 cubic feet per minute 4-barrel carburetor. Marantz AM/FM tape deck with 2 120-watt amplifiers. A passive 9-band equalizer, 6 speakers, and 2 12-inch subwoofers. Had many good times in that car back in the 1980s. Story 45. My Mustang Mach-E right now is so much fun to drive, and it is powerful. It is not perfect, but easily the best by far. Story 46. 1970 BMW 2800 CS. Story 47. So far, the most reliable has been a 2009 Scion XB. It uses the same motor as the Toyota Camry and has been great. I ended up giving it to my daughter, who still drives it. It is 16 years old and has 200,000 miles. Story 48. I miss my BMW E30 and my Nissan 240SX, but not as much as I miss my ABA-swapped Volkswagen Mark I Jetta Coupe. That car was like a go-kart. Story 49. I have owned a total of 1 car, so by default, it is the best. I own a Mazda 3 hatchback, and it has been wonderful to drive. I chose the 6-speed manual and have no regrets. It has some minor bumps and scratches but has otherwise been treated well. As far as accidents go, aside from a slight swipe from some unsecured plywood that flew off a truck, there has been nothing at all. There has not been a single engine issue to speak of. I am very happy with the Skyactiv 2.0-liter engine for its fuel efficiency and power output given the size. Story 50. My Subaru Crosstrek with a manual transmission and a flat-4 engine all-wheel drive does exactly what I need when I need it. It is the best of vehicles. Story 51. A Volkswagen City Golf, which was a Golf Mark I from the 1970s, but with a new engine and modern interior. Story 52. I had a 1996 Ford Escort with a manual transmission that refused to die. It just kept running. Even when it broke down, it still got me home. That car was extremely reliable back when I needed it because I couldn't afford anything else. Story 53. Nothing outstanding, but mine was a Volkswagen Golf. Great little cars. My brother-in-law always has Audis and BMWs, and he reckons it was as good as those. I missed that car. Story 54. 1998 Volvo V40 1.8-liter petrol. Bought it for £300 from an auction. Ran it for 4 years with nothing but routine maintenance, until it failed its MOT, needing more welding than the car was worth. Took it to a scrapyard with a weighbridge and got £200 scrap value for it. Absolute peach of a car. Story 55. My only car is a beautiful forest green Volvo V70, a business model. It has passed from my dad to my brother and now to me. It will probably stay with me until the end. It is a 2001 model and I was born in 1999, so we get along really well. A cool little detail is a landline phone that comes out from the middle. We used to call on that phone if we knew Dad was driving, as it had its own number. Story 56. My old Mazda MX-5 Miata was pure fun. It was not flashy or super fast, but driving it felt like go-karting with a license. Light, zippy, and with the top down on a sunny day, it gave me instant happiness. I took the long way home on purpose every time. Story 57. My 2024 Tesla Model 3 long range. I do not think I could have bought a better car for the price. Story 58. Jaguar F-Type. Could have used it perfectly as a daily driver, which I did not. The sound is brilliant. I chose a Maserati after the Jaguar, which was horrible. Story 59. I have a 2010 Mazda 3, and I still own it to this day. It has 130,000 miles. I don't drive it that much, but whenever I do, I try to drive as many miles as possible. Story 60. I am pretty young, but my first car was a 1995 Toyota Camry station wagon with 275,000 miles on it when I got it. It ran like a dream and was great for road trips. Eventually, the frame rusted out and I had to get rid of it. Story 61. 2009 Volvo V51.6 diesel. It is literally unkillable. It ran for 5 years with bad injectors, a failing turbocharger, and a blocked diesel particulate filter. Then I broke a glow plug in the cylinder head, and it consumed that 6 months later. I drove it like that for over 6 months and put about 7,000 kilometers on it. During that time, at some point, it must have burned all of the oil because I checked the dipstick, and it was completely dry. I called my dad, we bought a bottle of quality oil, filled it up, and kept on driving. Story 62. Tesla Model Y 2026. It is my favorite car I have ever been in. There are drawbacks where other cars are better, for example, towing boats, but in 99% of my vehicle uses, it is hands down the best. In my opinion. Story 63. My favorite and first vehicle I owned was a 1984 Datsun Nissan pickup truck. I lowered it and put new wheels and wide soft tires on it. Story 64. 2007 Toyota RAV4. I had it for 14 years with barely any issues. I only got rid of it when the bottom rusted out and could not be repaired. Story 65. I do my own maintenance. 2004 Mercedes-Benz SL 600. Yes, it requires maintenance, but I love it. I still have it and drive it occasionally. Story 66. Subaru Impreza Subaru Technica International with modifications on intake and exhaust. The car was unstoppable in the snow with all snow tires on. It was glued to the road as well. Story 67. 2007 Volvo XC90. Roomy, comfortable, built like a tank, and with the 3.2-liter engine, as reliable as a brick, making it very inexpensive to own and operate. I really miss that car. Story 68. 1997 Subaru Impreza Brighton Coupe. 5-speed with the EJ22 engine. Refused to die. I beat it hard and it just kept going through snow, winter, rain, and everything in between. Story 69. My current 2021 Hyundai Ioniq Hybrid. In the summer, it gets over 1,200 kilometers on a single 35-liter fuel tank. In winter, it is not as good but still 850 to 900 kilometers. Story 70. 79 Cadillac Fleetwood. All steel. Bright white with chrome trim and green velour interior. It was my first car, a hand-me-down from my grandparents. Story 71. 1996 Ford F-150 single cab with a 5-speed manual transmission and 300 inline-6 engine. 292,000 miles and still runs like it is new. Story 72. Datsun 180B Super Sports Sedan Coupe. Drove like a dream and looked amazing. 1976 model with triple SU carburetors. Loved that car. It was a shame they rusted while you watched. Story 73. I can't describe it. Only photos do it justice. However, for my final act, I will choose a 1966 Oldsmobile Tornado. I will add many enhancements to make it stronger. Story 74. Honestly, my current Kia Rio has a 7-year warranty and excellent reliability. After owning old Subaru vehicles for years, this is an absolute dream. Story 75. My 2004 Nissan Pathfinder is old enough to come to the bar with me. Still looks nice for an older car. Story 76. I loved my 1994 Ford Ranger and my 2003 Monte Carlo. The most fun to drive was my 1981 Volkswagen Rabbit. That car handled like a dream, but it was made in the United States and everything on it broke. The worst car was my 1988 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. It got 2 miles per gallon of gas and 4 miles per quart of oil. I traded it back in 2 weeks after I got it at the same dealer and received a decent car that lasted 6 years, my 1990 Ford Taurus. Story 77. My 2022 Kia EV6. By a mile. I know it's romantic to mention my 1966 Chevrolet Impala, or the 1972 Chevrolet Nova with 3 on the tree, or the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro Ragtop. I have had practically every car there is to have because my family was in the business, and my Kia EV6 is the most fun car I have ever driven. Story 78. 1996 General Motors Company Jimmy. That vehicle was very reliable, but my favorite was a 2001 Chevrolet Impala. Could accelerate very quickly. It also had an excellent speaker system when I bought it. I drove around playing loud music that shook people's windows with the bass. I thought I was very cool. The Jimmy lasted longer though. Story 79. The first car that I bought new was a 1995 Honda Civic EX Coupe. There has been a Honda Civic in my garage in one form or another ever since. Story 80. 1995 Subaru Outback, the first model of Outbacks ever made. Drove that vehicle to 289,000 wonderful miles. Story 81. 1989 Mercury Cougar. Best $400 I ever spent. Great fuel economy for a high school and college student in the mid-2000s. The only issue was the window motors. I went through a few of them and had to either catch the window before it fell off track or get into the door panel to fix it, which was a hassle. I ended up buying 3 more cars on the MN12 platform for less than $1,000 each, even if I only drove them for a year or two. Story 82. 1997 Jeep Cherokee Sport. I put over 250,000 miles on it with only minor repairs. I got rid of it when the back of the frame rusted off. My wife got a brand new Kia in 2005. She used to tease me about what an eyesore my Jeep was. I told her my Jeep would be on the road long after her car was rotting in a junkyard. Her car rolled over 100,000 miles in 2011, and everything instantly went wrong with it, including the transmission, so we sold it. I drove my Jeep for another 6 years. I replaced it with a brand new Cherokee Sport and was greatly disappointed. I only kept that vehicle for 3 years. Story 83. All in all, probably my 2000 Crown Victoria LX. I got it in 2010 with about 10,000 miles on it for $4,000 cash. Story 84. I currently have a work car that is a 2002 Toyota Echo. It was purchased used in 2004 with 30,000 miles on it. It has 398,000 miles on it now and still gets 34 miles per gallon, down from 37 when it was newer. My wife was hit by 7 deer in it. Other than that, I would say my first car that was all mine was a used 1964 American Motors Corporation Rambler American 330. Story 85, 2010 Subaru Legacy. I have had it for 12 years, and it has never broken down on me in any way. I love it very much. Story 86, 1994 Crown Victoria. Automatic leveling suspension, front bench seat. It was like driving around sitting on your couch, cruising easily at 85 miles per hour. 128,495 miles. Story 87, 2002 Honda CR-V EX, navy blue. Drove it for 17 years, 229,000 miles, and it was very pleasurable and inexpensive to drive. Story 88, 2017 Subaru Outback 3.6R. 130,000 miles on it and only routine maintenance. It is quick and comfortable. I can still do all my own maintenance on it. A few small electrical quirks, but that is all. Can really do anything. We sleep in it, camp in it, and drive it all over town. We fit an entire L-shaped couch from IKEA in it. I ran my pressure washing company out of it for 2 years. It is truly an amazing car. Story 89. My first car, a 1998 Chevrolet Prism. You would definitely die in a full-blown crash. But I could rely on that car 24/7, except in winter because it couldn't handle the roads, as I found out one icy night. I could have avoided it, but I went out to do deliveries to get some heroin. I am upset at myself for that. On the bright side, I made 10 times my money from it and had great memories with the car, owning it for 7 years. I put over 50,000 miles on it. Now it is being repaired and driven by a college student, which is great to know. He had to spend $3,000 to make it street legal and fixed. I would not have been able to afford that for a long time. I am glad it was not purchased by a racer or a demolition derby enthusiast. I received many offers from them but did not want it destroyed with only 120,000 miles and plenty of life left to serve someone who needs it like I did for years. Love you, Ism. I recommend that car to anyone. It has a great motor and is a great vehicle. Story 90. Only had 2 cars so far. A 2006 Subaru B9 Tribeca and my current car, a 2017 Honda Accord. I love my Honda Accord. Story 91. 1989 Chevrolet Blazer. I drove it into the ground without taking the best care of it, yet it continued to be there for me until it just could not go on anymore. I regret not treating it better and still miss it. Story 92. 1985 Subaru GL Wagon. 2-wheel drive, manual transmission. It carried me through high school and into college, my first taste of automotive independence. The frame eventually rusted away, and I had to let it go. In classic Subaru fashion, the heads and gaskets needed work. I learned a lot taking it apart and putting it back together again. Story 93. I've only owned one, but I love my 2016 Subaru Forester. I wish it had a little more power or hybrid and electric vehicle options, but the dimensions and style are great for a well-rounded vehicle. I would also update the center console to work with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but I want to keep all the physical buttons it has. Story 94. 1986 Subaru GL Wagon. Manual transmission, true 4-wheel drive. That car could go anywhere in the snow and ice. It is the only vehicle I ever regret getting rid of. I blew a head gasket 3 weeks before college graduation and sold it to a scrap yard. Story 95. To be fair, I have only owned 2 cars. My first car was a 2007 Dodge Charger base model with a V6 engine. I put 195,000 miles on it and owned it for 9 years. It never gave me a single problem. Story 96. Best doesn't mean it is my favorite. 1999 Toyota Tercel. I commuted that vehicle into the ground for 12 years. Changed the oil, brakes, and tires once in a while, and it was bulletproof. Story 97. Volkswagen Touareg turbocharged direct injection 2016. Bought it new for $15,000 off after the emissions scandal and proceeded to put nearly 200,000 miles on it in 6 years without a single issue. The vehicle was an absolute tank. 35 miles per gallon with the ability to tow 8,000 pounds off-road anywhere. and all the luxury of its more expensive Audi and Porsche siblings. It is torquey and a blast to drive for a sport utility vehicle. We traded it for an electric vehicle this past year and have loved our Model Y minus the erratic behavior of the CEO, but overall if they still made and sold a diesel Volkswagen Touareg in the United States, I would buy it again in a second. Story 98. 2025 Tesla Model 3 all-wheel drive long range. I think it might be the best you can get for the dollar in the United States. Story 99. 2021 Tesla Model 3 long range dual motor. Before that, my old 1999 Subaru Legacy B4 twin turbo. I also have my 1979 Ford Fairmont project car. It is the four-door version of the Mad Max Interceptor. Story 100. I had a 2008 Honda Civic, 2011 Honda Civic C, 2013 Honda Accord, 2017 BMW M2 manual transmission, and now a 2021 Lexus IS 350. For fun, I drive the BMW M2. For daily use, it was my Honda Accord. Balanced, my current car is the Lexus IS 350. Story 101. 2018 Mercedes E400 wagon. It might be the best all-around car in the world. It is a jack of all trades and master of at least half of them. With a tune, it is plenty fast with a 0 to 60 time of 4.1 seconds. It is ridiculously comfortable and well-appointed, completely reliable, reasonably efficient, and incredibly practical. How many other cars can be that quick and fun to drive while hauling up to 7 people and all their belongings? Story 102. Surprised by this, but my 2013 Ford C-Max Hybrid. I absolutely loved my 1991 and 1993 Chevrolet S10 though. I have had 37 vehicles in the last 15 years. Story 103. X6 BMW is impressive because it allows you to continue investing in BMW indefinitely. I spent $7,300 on repairs just this week. Story 104. The one I have right now is a 2008 Toyota RAV4 limited front-wheel drive with a 3.5-liter V6 engine. One of the best engines ever made. Story 105. I had a 1972 Ford Maverick when I was a teenager. It was older than me and had no air conditioning and no radio, but I loved it. I still wish I had not used it as a trade-in. Story 106. I got a new 2011 Subaru WRX hatchback when I was 45 and couldn't afford a proper midlife crisis. It was the first year they put the Subaru Technica International Style wide-body kit on it. It looked completely badass. I beat the snot out of it and it returned the favor, especially once I added stiffer eyeback springs. It was like driving a street-legal go-kart. It had zero issues until 120,000 miles when the transmission started misbehaving. I thought it was the clutch, but my mechanic gave me the bad news. It was still an intermittent problem that didn't get bad until the transmission was hot. So I babied it to the dealer who gave me a great trade-in toward a Volkswagen Golf R. What I was sure would be a huge upgrade really let me down. It was quick and precise, but it was also about 50% less fun. I miss the Subaru WRX a lot. If Subaru comes out with a hatchback version, I'd buy one again in a heartbeat. Story 107. 1992 Toyota MR2 Turbo with T-tops. It was very fun to drive. Manual transmission. In the end, it needed a new transmission, and the air conditioning was not working. The cost to repair exceeded the value of the car. Also, at that point in my life, having two cars was not practical anymore. I took a trip from Chicago to Appalachia, visiting music festivals. It was wonderful. I drove it on a windy, twisty road. Felt like being on a roller coaster, but I was driving. Story 108. Had a 2005 Jaguar XJ6. Leased it brand new. It was a beauty. Also loved my 1971 Super Beetle in high school. I can still smell the fumes coming up through the rusted heater vents. Still, I love that car. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.